Let's repeat the non-conformist oath. I promise to be different. I promise to be unique. I promise not to repeat things other people say.
And welcome to a very impromptu version of the Positive Blathering podcast with Fitz. Of course, that is me, Fitz. And I'm happy to be here. And it is, the 21st of January. And I had a Eureka Moment. I wrote a blog post about this. You can find it at rockvox.com under the Positive Blatherings tab. And you can read that. But if you don't like to read, you can listen to this little blathering because it's going to be about the same thing. Basically, in an attempt to start to get healthier, because I've put on a lot of weight over the last 3 years and I was getting tired of it. My joints are getting stiff. I sit down for too long. I stand up and I'm like, oh, and I'm like noises that I don't normally make. I can't help them. They just happen when I go to sit down. So I didn't want that to happen anymore. But I know that in the past, whenever I would try to drastically change my habits and drastically change everything, I would fail because I would get too overwhelmed with all the changes and just fall back into my old habits. Well, I decided I wasn't going to do that this time, and I was just going to ease myself into it. So the first thing I started doing was started to stretch. That was my main thing. Was I wanted to be able to get up early enough so that I could stretch. Believe it or not, stretching has been in the last couple of days has been key to me feeling better. So stretching is one thing, eating healthy is another. And I know it sounds like, wow, you're changing everything, but I'm not really. It's not like I'm waking up at 3:30 to start lifting weights and running and going full bore. Stretching for 20 minutes a day is not a huge deal, but it's enough to start building that habit. And I really wanted to gradually get myself into the habits. Started eating better. I was like consuming a tub of tapioca pudding every hour, I think, when it got down to it. I don't recall the actual time, but it was pretty bad. So I'm eating healthy. I'm trying to eat clean, like probably 85% clean. I'm stretching. The other thing I'm doing is I'm meditating. And I didn't read a book on meditating. I mean, I've done enough research over the years to kind of get the basics of how to properly meditate. And it's different for everyone. But for me, I decided I was going to meditate just by closing my eyes, putting on I have a meditation playlist on Spotify, just playing it off my phone very lightly, sitting in the dark on the couch, not laying down because I'll fall asleep and then be late for work. So just sitting down, good posture, breathing in through my nose and blowing out through my mouth with my eyes closed. And I would imagine that I'm breathing in good intentions and exhaling all the bad stuff. Any bad thoughts, any negativity that's in my body, I'm breathing that out. And I'm visualizing this exhale almost like it's smoke, like it's black, like I've got black lung or something, like I've been working in coal mines. And I'm breathing in and I'm exhaling. And that's going out into the room. And every time I do that, I imagine that there's this much of bad in me. And every time I take a deep breath and exhale, it goes down. And I'm concentrating on my breathing. I'm trying to stop my head, because inside my head, trust me, you don't want to go there. Inside my head, it's when you walk into a big party, there's 100 people and they're all talking at once. That's what it sounds like in there. It's crazy, I know. But I'm trying to calm that down. And I just watched a couple of videos about transcendental meditation, which is something that I want to get into. And it talked about how our brains are like the top of the ocean, right? The surface of the ocean is just crazy. There's waves, there's wind. It's very tumultuous. But down deep in the ocean, it's silence. It's calm. It's still. And that's where I'm trying to get to in my mind and in my thoughts. Is the top of my brain, my mind is just blah, craziness, right? Tidal waves, whatever. Big, what am I trying to say? Big, rafts of plastic trash. Anyway, so I'm trying to get into that spot, get into that place in my mind. And I'm doing this. I've only been doing it for a couple of days now. This morning, I had a Eureka moment. It dawned on me, because one of the things that I like to try to do is to sort of use the law of attraction sort of attitude of gratitude thing, right? If you think about things and you stay in an attitude of gratitude and you're thankful, and then you think about the things that you want to happen in your life, and you pretend that they've already happened, and you imagine the joy that you feel when knowing that those things have happened, you're going to attract that to you. And there's some people that believe that and some people that don't. I figured, what can it hurt? It puts me in a better mood. So I started doing that. And this morning I was like, holy crap. Everything that I've ever wished for the most part, I have. I've always wanted to do morning radio since when I was a little kid. I got a morning radio show. I've always wanted to do, do more than one show in one place. So I have 2 other radio shows that I pre-record in 2 different markets. Okay. I've always wanted to have my own business. I've always wanted to own my own studio. Boom. I'm here. I'm doing it right now. I've always wanted to be a filmmaker. Bottom Feeders is happening. We've shot a third of it. We're going to shoot the rest of it soon. And I've got other film projects in the works. And, it's not Hollywood, but it's something, and it's something that I love doing. I've always, ever since I was, a teenager in my early 20s, I was always dreaming of meeting that perfect someone and having a family and having kids, and, having a kid that I always wanted to have a son that liked to play music and stuff. Dude's in the next room. You could actually, he's laughing. You can hear him because his mic's on. I left it on. I think he's there. No, he's not there. You won't be able to hear him. Now you could probably hear him. Go ahead, Sean.
Hi.
You there?
Yeah.
All right. He is there. All right. Now I'm muting you. But so I'm sitting at the dinner table the other day, or the kitchen table the other day, having lunch with Sean, and we're listening, he's playing me Victor Wooten off his phone. I'm like, what? I'm like, I remember when I was in my 20s playing in a band, and we would sit around and listen to Victor Wooten going, oh my God, or watch videos of this guy playing the bass. It was just amazing. So it's like he's doing a lot of the things that I always wanted to do, but it's not like I pushed it on him. He had the option of learning to play music, and he's just run with it, and he loves it. So anyway, I had this Eureka moment this morning where I was like, oh my goodness, all of these things that I've ever wanted, they've come true. And to add to that, on the 30th of this month, I'm celebrating 1 year sober, not a drop of alcohol in a year. And that's huge for me. I never thought I would be able to drop that crutch in that feeling of despair and sadness and just being lost. And the only way that I could get rid of that was if I had a buzz on. And it didn't take me as long as I thought, but once I finally got there, thank you, Annie Grace, This Naked Mind. Check out that book if you're struggling with alcohol. That book really worked for me, but a 12-step program like Alcoholics Anonymous could also be something that works for you. You could listen to 100 Proof Living podcast, which is on the Rockvox podcast network, on iTunes and anywhere you get podcasts, because Chris and Brian and their team, they have got it down, just on the path of being a better human being and interacting with other human beings and helping one another. So that was my Eureka moment. All these things that I've always wanted, they all happened at different times, and they all gradually happened. And, I can very easily say that they're not all exactly to the level that I wanted them to be yet. But my gosh, they're all here. It's like if you said you always wanted to go to California, you always wanted to go to LA, and one day you woke up and you were in San Diego and you're like, oh my God, I'm pretty darn close. So that was my Eureka moment this morning. And so I know that my meditation and my stretching, it's all part of it. It's all part of that path, that journey to getting and reaching that place that I wanted to be at all of these years. And, you know, I mean, I couldn't be happier. I have family and friends that I care about and people that I'm trying to work with and help to achieve their goals and, you know, capture their dreams. And it's very special. And I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe, like the podcast on iTunes or wherever you get your podcast, leave a positive review, leave something. I would appreciate that. And you can do the same with RockVox on Google reviews or a Facebook review or something. You don't have to. That's totally cool. But I'd appreciate it if you did. And maybe, you know, you can be on the path to your Eureka moment to discover that your life is exactly the way you always wished it could be. And with that, I leave you. My name is Fitz. This is the Positive Bothering. It's close. Positive Blathering podcast, and we'll be back. My next episode is going to be a compilation episode with people who I have identified with over the last year in my sobriety, people that have conquered and have chosen to be sober and how it has affected their lives. So when that posts, you will see it. Thanks for joining me.